Welcome back to another episode of Puncher's Chance MMA. I am Bradley Gleason. This week we're going to talk about the results from the Burns vs. Brady card. We're going to talk about the Sphere. We're going to talk about the fight card. We're going to talk about some bets, and then we're going to talk about some future fights. A sneaky one just got announced today, Bo Nickel versus Paul Craig. It is targeted for MSG, not official, but I want to talk about that a little bit because that is a fucking good fight. First things first, let's go back. I know we want to talk about the Sphere. This is the card that's coming up this weekend. I'm excited for it. I'm jacked for it. But first, we got to talk about last week's card real quick. We'll talk about Burns and Brady, kind of the fallout from that, and what happened, who won, who lost, what it means for the division. We're really going to only talk about the first two fights. I do want to highlight one at the bottom, Nathan Fletcher, Zigamontes. Again, these were some tough fighters. If you didn't watch that fight, go back and check that out because it is a fucking banger. Good fight. Go watch it. Nathan Fletcher came up with the dub in that one. Got his eye busted open earlier and then came back and got an armbar. Disgusting. I think it was an armbar. Am I tweaking on that? Head and arm choke. Even better. Come on. Nathan Fletcher. The boy. Anywho. Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady. I'll be honest. I forgot how good football was when I was talking about how excited I was for this card. I still am decently excited, but when it came to it, Saturday night, you know, there's college football's back. There's games all over the place. Colorado's getting the shit kicked out of them. I'm having a good time. I like Colorado, but you know, I'm having a good time watching ball. This card fell down on my list to touch, at least for the kind of middle section of it. You know what I'm pissed about? I never went back and watched this Trevor Peek fight. I know it's a fucking banger. I'll have to do that. But the real fights that matter, Jessica Andrade, Natalia Silva. Like I said leading up to it, Silva's going to skate the fence. She's going to have to worry about the pressure from Andrade, and that is what she did. I was scared for her for the entire fight just because I know how much power Jessica Andrade carries, and if she connects, it's a problem. And fuck, she did connect. Natalia Silva's, first of all, she has a goddamn chin on her. Second of all, she's fast. She is good. She's got good feints. Really impressive out of her. Kind of a sneaky one in the women's flyweight division. And then on the flip side, Gilbert Burns and Sean Brady. It was one of those fights where it seemed like, first of all, watching it just bare eye, I was surprised to see, let's look at the strike count. I was surprised to see how many significant strikes Sean Brady had because it didn't really feel like Gilbert was really ever in danger from punches, but he was out striking him. Like you were getting like slow updates throughout the fight. They're like, oh, he's got X amount of strikes this round. I was like, fuck, really? It was just one of those fights where it seemed like it was almost too competitive for its own good. They both were trying to wrestle. Nothing was really happening. There was some controlled time. It was a good fight, but it wasn't like there was no holy shit moment in it where you're like, oh, the tides have just turned. I thought Sean Brady won on decision, no doubt. I thought he outpaced Gilbert Burns. I thought he looked good. His wrestling was strong. He looked just physically strong in the fight, so props to him. But now the big one, the fucking Sphere. When I say I'm fucking jacked about this, I am jacked about this. I will be upfront. I am a Sean O'Malley stan. I'm rooting for the boy. I don't give a fuck what you say. He's going to put Merab's lights out. I mean that with all due respect. But just know that this is bias, boy. This is a biased take. I'm rocking with Sean O'Malley. But some good fights on this card. Alexa Grasso, Valentina Shevchenko going at it for a third time. I just rewatched the last fight. I know there was some controversy about it. I remember watching it the first time. I was in Shreveport, Louisiana, at a damn gambling cave. No sound on this fight, and I thought Alexa Grasso won. I rewatched it today. I still think Alexa Grasso won. I think the big controversy on this one was she got a 10-8 in the the fifth round, which was absolutely ridiculous. If that being the case, on a technical sense, her getting a 10-8 is ridiculous. Valentina should have won that fight had it been a 10-9, but my personal opinion, Alexa Grasso won that fight. It was 2-2 going into the fifth. She took her back, held her down, threatened submissions. I thought that won her the fight. But it was a very close fight. I'm not mad that they're redoing this at all. This is the fight to make. It was very competitive. And then Brian Ortega, Diego Lopez. Are you fucking kidding me? I was so upset when this got dropped the first time. And shout out to Diego Lopez and Dan Ige for going to war that night. But this was the fight that got attached to 300 because shit was hitting the fan. And this was the one that you're like, oh, fuck, okay. You know, this kind of holds us together a little bit while the main event is up in limbo. We get Diego Lopez, Brian Ortega. Gonna be a banger. Still believe it's a banger. It's a really interesting fight because both these guys are nasty on the ground. Like Diego Lopez, if you rewatch his Mozart fight, it was his first fight in the UFC. I think he took it on short notice. He is so slick on the ground, rolling through submissions. He ended up losing that fight, but he really, really made a name for himself in that. So slick, just never stops when he's on the ground. And then, of course, you got Brian Ortega, who is renowned for having disgusting guillotines and things like that. So it'd be super interesting. I'll say both these guys fight like Mexicans, you know? That's why this is so good for this card, because it is your Mexican, this is your Mexican Independence Day card. This is a card for Mexicans, and these guys bang on the feet. Both of them leave their chins kind of hanging, and they're not scared to get hit to hit. So it should be an absolute freaking banger. And then some sneaky ones that I'm excited about. Daniel Zellhuber, Esteban Ribovics. Esteban just got done knocking the fuck out of Terrence McKinney, which I feel bad for because McKinney has taken some, he's getting into that Johnny Walker territory where he's taken some, I mean, he's had some nasty KOs, but Esteban looked good. I think he's another Contender Series boy. Let's see, first fight he won via unanimous decision, third round, and then came out and KO'd Terrence McKinney in 37 seconds. So, boy. Daniel Zellhuber, I think the big difference is going to be here, and it's not going to tell me his height, huh? Get some stats out here, fellas. Daniel Zellhuber is so lengthy. He's a tall boy. I first saw him in the Contender Series, and I kind of fell in love with this kid, so I'm rooting this way. If you're asking me who I'm rooting for, I'm rooting this way. Daniel Zellhuber, if you hadn't heard about him, go watch his fights. He's fun. He's a long striker. He's had some fun fights in the UFC. I think he's, 4-1, 3-1 in the UFC. Lost his first fight. Trey Ogden. Shout out to Trey Ogden. Trey Ogden's been kind of sneaky banging. Just real quick, show some love to Trey Ogden because he's an old cat, but tough out. He won his last one. He's 50-50. Doesn't fucking matter. Shout out to Trey Ogden. Tough out every goddamn time. But lost to Trey Ogden, then came back in 3-round decision, second round submission, and then I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, he pieced up Prado, who's a kind of heavy-handed kid. You're always kind of worried about, especially those strikers, long strikers, just getting folded. You know? But Daniel Zellhuber, a guy to watch. Minus 225, so he's a favorite, which is interesting. Minus 225 favorite on this one. Esteban Ribovics going in as a plus 185 dog. I'm not reconsidering, still boating for Zellhuber, but that's not bad plus money. I'm just going to say that's not bad plus money. When we're looking at Ortega, Diego Lopez, again, not bad plus money. That really is. The problem with Diego Lopez up to this point is strength of schedule. I mean, he fought Dan Ige on 5 minutes notice. His win against Yusuf was incredible. He went to war with, I lied. His strength of schedule is great. Mozart's like, I don't know, what's he rank, like 4th? So strength of schedule is strong. He's been in some good fights, but still good plus money. To me, that fight is truthfully a toss-up. If I'm leaning, it's Diego Lopez, but I would not be surprised if Brian Ortega came out and won. Fuck. Brian Ortega was getting the shit kicked out of him by Yair Rodriguez and then submitted him. So the dude's just never out. The dude is never out. Even against Volk, he was getting beat up on the feet. But there was a couple times you were just like, oh shit. So exciting fight there. Alexa Grasso Shevchenko, even money 112, 108. If I'm betting this fight, here's my thought process here. Alexa Grasso in the first fight, she was getting worked, ended up getting a submission. In the second fight, she knocked down Shevchenko. Biggest punch of the fight, put her on her ass. Biggest moment in the fight was Alexa Grasso putting out Shevchenko. I think she just got her number. I'll be honest with you. I think she just got her number. Valentina's getting a little bit older. I think Alexa Grasso's got her number. And I'll say it, dude. I got a crush on Alexa Grasso. I was rewatching her fight today. She's the calmest motherfucker under pressure. Her face never changed. She was in a deep triangle. You know, had Shevchenko on her back for a round. There's no panic in this lady. There's no panic in this lady. So I think she's got Valentina's number. I still think it's going to be a competitive fight. I think Valentina will have her moments. But at the end of the day, just based on the last two fights, Alexa submitted her. Alexa knocked her down. Valentina is yet to... I mean, she cut her open last fight. Good jab. She looked good on the feet. She looked confident on the, when she got her back. But I think it's just that. And then this is actually fun to see because I thought O'Malley opened as a dog, like a reasonable dog, but you're pretty much getting even money here. Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili. Let's look at it. Oh, it's exciting, boy. The Sugar Show is back. Let's just look. I think the thought process behind this fight is if it stays on the feet, O'Malley wins. If it goes to the ground, Merab wins. I think, your striker versus wrestler here. I think that's what the people are thinking. I think, that is the case. I just think Sean is much harder to take down than people give him credit for. And I think he's starting to gain that credit. But Aljamain didn't take him down. The problem with O'Malley is you have to get to him. You're going to have to eat some shit. You're going to have to eat some shit. Sterling found out. Petr Yan was probably the best at neutralizing O'Malley and getting him to the ground. But Petr Yan did it with his hands. That's the benefit of it. Is he had disgusting body kicks, like he could hang in the stand-up. He used his stand-up to get into clinches and then takedowns. I'm not, and tell me if I'm dead wrong here, but I'm not really worried about Merab striking, The thing with Merab is he's such a wild boy that he's going to rush into shots. He's going to rush into shots. And we've seen him get clipped before. That's why I'm confident in this fight. We've seen him get clipped before. Cejudo clipped him. He did fucking absolutely mollywop Yan. But the other thing that I was thinking about the other day is like, even in the Henry fight, when he takes you down, he's not doing much damage. He was just kind of holding. When he took Yan down 1,000 times, but he's not doing much damage. Like, let's look at the, let's see if we can open this up. I know. Can we open this up? I don't even know how to work this. I should figure this stuff out before I do that. Here we go. Significant strikes. Okay, Merab had, look at this. Merab had control of Petr Yan. 5-round fight, 91, 35, 21. He had, I want to see his ground control time. 11 takedowns. Does it give us a time? Fuck this thing, man. Give me some real stats here. My point is, for how dominant he looked against Petr Yan, significant strikes by position, distance, clinch, ground. Zero. He landed 0 ground strikes. Is these stats wrong? There's a chance. But he landed 0 ground strikes. When you think about that fight, what do you think about? You think about how many times he took Petr Yan down. He landed 0 ground strikes. Let's go to the Henry fight. God, what a card. What a fucking card. Did I just see that right? What a card. Damn. Significant strikes by position. 10 ground strikes. Like, the positions Merab is supposed to be winning, is it just going to be control? You're never really thinking, at least you're not really worried about submission from him. I'm not saying you shouldn't be worried at all, but one win by submission in his last 2 fights. 0 ground strikes against Yan, 10 ground strikes against Cejudo. Like, these are the positions that he's dominating in. If it's just pure, there's a method to take down, wear out. There's a method to that. Obviously, it's allowing him to win, but it's just control time. He's not doing damage. And I think, like the Yan fight, Yan got up a shit ton of times. Merab had 11 takedowns. I think he tried like 56. He's not really even holding. I mean, he did hold Cejudo down for a little bit, so props to him. But it's just, I don't see with him not being... the takedown is a threat. The damage, in my opinion, based off the last couple of fights, is not. The damage on the ground is not. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying he hasn't. So when you think about the fact that O'Malley's gonna get up or can get up, if Merab's not doing any damage on the feet, you gotta assume that O'Malley's gonna be doing that, or doing any damage on the ground. You gotta assume O'Malley's gonna be doing it on the feet. Whether he gets taken down or not, you assume he's gonna do some damage on the feet. I mean, unless he just gets completely outworked, I'm not super worried about Merab finishing the fight. And that's kind of, they say the longer the fight goes, the better it weighs for Merab. I'm not sure if that's necessarily true. Sugar just went 5 rounds with Cheeto, looked great through it. I think his 4th round was his worst round, but boxed the fuck out of Cheeto for 5 rounds. And if Merab gets hit with the same hits that Cheeto got hit with, I don't know if he's still standing. Again, I'm biased. That is UFC 306. Thank you for watching. My mic just fell. My camera's about to fall. I don't care. We're having fun. UFC 306 this weekend. Tune in or tune the fuck out, boy. We doing it. Peace.